Good. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your attendance tonight. We appreciate you being here on a special night for a few of our personnel, and we're excited to celebrate with them tonight and to promote them. We're going to start the evening off with our honor guard and our pipes and drums, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Unified Fire Authority pipes and drums. Attention. Forward, march. Band, halt. Scotland the Brave. At the halt, quick, march.
Raise hand. Arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Post. Colors.
Thank you. You may take your seat. On the anniversary of September 11th, we wanted to take the opportunity to celebrate some of the things that happened as a result of that day. We've put together a short video that we'd like you to view with us, afterwards followed by a moment of silence, and then we'll proceed with our program at that point.
Pipes and drums, bells of Dunblane. Pipes and drums by the tap, by the right, quick march.
Well, thank you all for being here. My name is Dominic Burchett, and I have the honor of being the fire chief for Unified Fire Authority. I want to thank the Honor Guard and the Pipes and Drums and IO for putting together that video tribute for us. I thought I was going to keep it together until I saw the sticker of my brother on that drum and kind of lost it there for a minute. But so give me a minute, if you will, till I compose myself. Today it feels a little counterintuitive to be celebrating a promotion on a day like 9/11, but hear me out and I'll see if I can tie it all together for you. But I remember, probably like most of you, where I was 22 years ago. Exactly. I was out at the Magna Training Center in my 5th or 6th week of recruit camp. I was actually underneath the engine checking the air gauge to make sure there's no water. I don't know what to do that. They still do that, Rob? Probably. But they came out, our instructors came out and grabbed us and said, come inside, there's something happening. And of course, my recruit camp was all inside, just glued to the television, watching what was happening. And as the planes hit the tower, we just sat there in disbelief, like many of you probably. Our training captain at the time, he made the decision to keep us moving, to keep us busy and get us away from that TV. So what we did is we finished our checkoffs. We went out to the Magna Rec Center to do our daily PT. And of course, the TV was on there as well. So there was no getting us away from that TV. It was there at the rec center where we saw the buildings collapse. And we all knew what that meant. So most of us at the time were questioning if this was a career that we wanted to do. Maybe a desk job doesn't look so bad after all. But for me, and I think most of those in my class, this experience actually strengthened our commitment, our passion, and our drive to be firefighters. The next day, our captains brought us into the room and allowed us to kind of share our thoughts on what was happening around us. And most of us did share that same conviction that this made us want to be better firefighters. So that if we ever faced a similar situation, we would be trained and ready and willing to respond. The one thing that one of my captains said that I'll never forget is he said, bad things are going to happen and they're not our fault. The best we can do is be prepared for anything, be masters of our skill, and be able to help in whatever situation comes at us. So we must move forward from this and we must push on. And as a class, most of us are still here pushing on. And I think that with the promotions happening today, this is a good example of us as a fire service moving forward, taking that next step, that opportunity for advancement and responsibility. Those being promoted are ready, willing, and trained for this next phase in your career. So together we should make the commitment to continue moving forward and making the fire department a better place than when we found it. So we lost 343 firefighters that day, and we'll never forget their sacrifice. But we also must remember the ones that have been lost since then. As you saw from the video, there's been 5 from UFA alone that responded to 9/11 who have lost their life. But we can't prevent those bad things from happening. So we have to push on and honor those that were lost with how we choose to move forward. And today we're choosing to do that by celebrating the promotions of these 7 individuals. And so I want to turn my focus now to them. I know you guys have worked hard. Guys and gals have worked so hard to be here and sacrificed a lot to take this next step. And I want to personally thank you for that. And I also want to personally thank your families for the support that they've shown you throughout the testing process. I know that the sacrifice was worth it because here we are celebrating your success. We have a lateral paramedic. That's unique for today because John left a department where he was happy and his wife came with him. And that's not an easy decision. So I hope you both talked about it and you made the right decision, I hope. But thank you for making that choice. I want to talk briefly about what these positions mean to the organization and our ability to accomplish our mission. So there's 5 paramedics today, John, Kirby, Thomas, Megan, and Derek. As most of you know, nearly 80% of the calls that we receive for service are in medical in nature. So that means you're responding to about 35,000 calls a year. It's your job to be proficient in everything from stub toes to heart attacks. You never know what to expect when the alarm sounds. So you must be able to manage your team of EMTs. They're going to look up to you as the subject matter experts, and they'll look to you for answers. This is one job where you can actually make a difference in someone's life with the actions that you're taking. So don't take this responsibility lightly. Always be ready for the what ifs, the maybes, or that'll never happen again. It requires you to be a lifelong student and always looking to improve your knowledge and skills. Our customers expect that level of service, and I'm confident that you all can deliver. The next position is an investigator. We'll be swearing in Jeff to the position of investigator. He comes to our organization with a wealth of experience. He's going to be responsible for investigating our fires, the causes, and if there's criminal intent in those fires, he gets to arrest them as well. That's why his badge looks a little different than ours. He also will be responding to explosive and bomb calls. And Jeff has a new member of his family. Her name is Nova, the canine. And his wife's shaking her head. I don't know if she knows that yet. But that dog and Jeff as the handler will be going up and down the Wasatch Front on accelerant calls and explosive detection with this new dog. Sorry, Jeff, if I ruined that. Also, Jeff is a SWAT medic, I understand, and will be doing our background investigations as part of our new hire process. So a lot involved in that job to help us be successful. Last is but not least, is our battalion chief, Nate Kay. Nate is going to be running one of our battalions, 13C. So Nate has 7 fire stations and 8 crews within his battalion. So his job is to make sure they're able and ready to respond. He's going to be coordinating training, I hope, running large and complex incidents, and everything else that's involved in running a battalion. It's a big Nate, and it's a big job, and Nate will be pulled in many directions, but I'm excited to see you succeed in that role. This spring I had a BC boot camp, and I talked about a couple of expectations for the BC role in particular. So Nate, those for me are take care of the mission, take care of your people, and take care of yourself. I want to talk just briefly what those mean to me, Nate, for you. The mission is that you're the bridge between administration and operations. And you have to carry out the mission and direction from administration, even if you don't always agree. You have to get that message that we're sending to be understood by your crews, and then you have to bring back information to us in a meaningful way so that we can react to it. So think of yourself as an advocate for the mission and your people, not for your own personal agenda. The second is take care of your people, and this one is pretty simple. It's treat them with respect, inclusion, and equality. Give them an opportunity to make mistakes and learn and grow from those mistakes. Hold them accountable and realize that there's a different way to lead based on personalities. Be present, available, and supportive. And the last one is take care of yourself. So that means physically, mentally, financially. You probably have all heard that this is one of my main areas of focus as the fire chief, is the wellness of our people. And so to me, this means that as an organization, we provide resources and tools to allow you to choose to be happy. I can't tell you to be happy. But for you, Nate, I want you to choose success in your new role. Make people look up to you and want to be that. That's the first step in training your replacement, is leading by example. So I'm happy for you, excited for you, and I know you'll succeed there. Okay, so now I want to bring it back to the whole group again. Again, I'm just super excited for the movement that we've had recently. We've had a lot of promotions in the year or so that I've been here. Those getting promoted, look around, the room is full, and they're not here for me. In fact, they're probably waiting for me to be done, but they're here for all of you. And that's you should feel good and honored and proud to be part of such a good family. Thanks again for putting yourself out there, but I want you to continue learning, growing, and putting your hat for that next opportunity. During the last recruit graduation, I did something kind of different, and I think it landed well, so I'm going to try it again. But I had the recruits that we were swearing in close their eyes and imagine that they were getting sworn out as part of their retirement. So looking ahead 25 years, I asked them to think about where they wanted to be in that 25-year retirement. And so I'm going to ask you to do the same. You don't have to close your eyes, but just think about where you want to be at retirement. The idea of this is really to have your end game in mind, right? Have a plan, be able to pivot, adapt, and overcome. That's what we do, but have a plan. Think about not only how many bugles you want to have or what badge you want to be wearing, but more importantly, who and what you impacted in a positive way. So what actions can you take today that will help you achieve your goal? Who can you mentor? Who can you train? Who can you lead? You don't have to be a captain to do those things. The one thing I know is that this is a long career, but it will fly by if you let it. So take every opportunity to become the person that you want to be in retirement. If you sit back and wait, it will pass you by. So I think during the time of promotion or swearing in for our lateral, this is a good time to make sure that you're reflecting and not sitting there watching your career fly by. Did it work? Okay, good. All these positions today, our paramedics, our investigator, and our battalion chief, like I said, they're critical to the success of our organization. They're all important and unique, but what they share in common are my expectations for all the positions as fire chief. Those are: take care of yourself and your families and the people around you. Remember that you work for the communities we serve. Find and train your replacement. Know our vision, mission, and values, and continue to make life better for those that we serve. So with that, I want to leave you with this, that I'm inspired by you. I'm honored to be your fire chief, and I'm very proud of all of you, and I will be done. Thank you. Chris?
Thank you, Chief. We appreciate your words, and thank you to our honor guard, our pipes and drums, and specifically to Mr. Courtney Samuel. He's got a camera pointed at me right now. He's the one who put that video together. He does all of our digital media for us, and we appreciate all his work. For the duration of the program, we're going to have a speaker come up, give some brief remarks for each one of our promotees, and then after your speaker goes, we invite you to come up, bring your individual who's going to do your pinning for you, come over here, and then Chief will go forward with the promotion. You'll be pinned, and then you can sit down, and then we're going to move to the next individual. We're going to do our 5 medics all together. So we're going to start with our investigator, Jeff Nelson, JD, I guess is what you would prefer. So on his behalf, we have Captain Paul Larson that's going to be speaking for him. After his remarks, go ahead and come on up and we'll swear you in.
Thanks, Kelly. Good evening. Like Kelly said, I'm Paul Larson, captain over the Special Enforcement Division. Just a little bit about JD. He comes to us from UPD, where he was a street crimes detective in the Mill Creek area. He'd been doing that since 2017. He was also assigned to the Homeland Security Human Trafficking Task Force. JD is also a Army critical care paramedic with the Utah National Guard Flight Medevac team. So he is a nationally registered paramedic. That's another bonus in our division. And like Chief Burchett said, he is now currently running NOVA, our accelerant detector, or our explosive detection canine. So we're really excited to have him in our division.
You have been chosen maybe by virtue of your background, training, and personal qualities to be an investigator for Unified Fire Authority. Your behaviors, decisions, and actions while on and off duty directly reflect the image of Unified Fire Authority, its personnel, and the quality of services UFA provides to the citizens we serve. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, J.D. Nelson,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will uphold the vision,
that I will uphold the
mission,
mission,
values, and policies
values, and policies
adopted by Unified Fire Authority.
adopted by Unified Fire
I
Authority.
will act for the good of the communities
I will act for the good of the communities
of which I serve.
in which I serve.
I will strive for excellence
I will strive for excellence
while I faithfully,
while I faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and ethically perform
and ethically perform
the duties of investigator with Unified Fire Authority.
the duties of investigator with Unified Fire Authority.
You are now duly affirmed. Congratulations.
All right, now we're gonna test the resolve of our next 5 speakers, see if they can remember this order. We're going to have Chief Wade Watkins speak on behalf of 2 individuals, both for our paramedic lateral hire, John Hickey, and for our also a recent lateral, but recently promoted to paramedic as well, Kirby Grow. After Chief Watkins speaks, we're going to have Captain Adam Halsey come up and speak on behalf of Thomas Apgood. And then Captain Jubal Perez will speak also for a couple of individuals, both for Megan Fenton and Derek Wolst. After Captain Perez is finished, we'll have all 5 of you come up, line up right here, and then we'll have your individual doing your pinning for you, stand behind you. My name is Wade Watkins, and I was fortunate enough to be John Hickey's training chief. When we get a group of laterals within fire training, I get a moment to assess the group and assess people's capabilities pretty quick. We have coffee together, we talk about what's going to happen, and then we start the day off with a workout. And when we start the day off with that, I don't lead it out. I used to have past tense, I've now moved on. A wonderful captain out there named Captain Dinkle. I refer to him as Coach Dinkle. He would take us all through a workout. And that's when I could see people's tenacity. That's when I could see what's going on in their head, what's going on in their heart, and how they put it together. I guess the best way I can describe John Hickey is very efficient, high speed, low drag, no problems. Right out of the gate, he gets through the workout, and then I catch him over there doing his little soccer exercises to stretch out and get ready for the game. I'm like, well, I know who he is. Never late, always on point. Good experience base, and I truly want to say thank you to you and your family for supporting you coming here and working with us. And when I say us, this is now yours. These are now your streets. These are now your service areas. It's now your apparatus. It's your stuff. And I know you will take care of it. I have no doubt. But that buy-in to making it yours is what makes the difference. So I want to thank you. I want to thank your beautiful family, your beautiful wife that supported you getting here, and just the process in getting you here. Thanks for trusting us. Thank you. Chief, you got one more.
Back to back. Okay. I thought we were going to do a pinning of the badge right here. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit different. So this is firefighter paramedic Kirby Grow, and there's something funny that I'll share. Maybe I'll share it on the front end. I'm gonna free flow through this a little bit. So there's this guy that shows up in lateral camp, and he's talking about ice bath, ice bath, ice bath. And next thing you know, I'm like, oh gosh, am I gonna get shamed into doing it? Long story short, talks a lot about it. I try it. Next thing you know, it's my favorite thing. I talked to my 71-year-old mom about it. Next thing you know, I get a video of her jumping in the Snake River. Like, is this good enough? So it was good enough. Therapeutic effects, amazing. She loves it. So I'm going to tell a little bit about Kirby's story here. Kirby and his wife, Kylie, and their little boy, Sawyer, who is 1.5 years old, recently moved to American Fork from Cache Valley, where they had lived there for the last 8 years. They both attended USU and started their careers. Kirby's wife, Kylie, is a speech language pathologist, now a full-time homemaker.
Kirby started in the fire service with North Logan Fire Department, where he was inspired to better his craft and seek a full-time position. 4 years later, he had an opportunity to be among the first few to implement EMS services in Cache County District. 2 years of service and hard work led to paramedic school. So when we hired him, he was not yet a paramedic. So he's juggling the family piece, paramedic school, transitioning jobs, all of that. And I think this is important in his story and in his family's story. So paramedic school has been one of the hardest things the Grow family has accomplished together. Starting paramedic school with a 6-month-old baby at home was difficult. Moving 3 times, we got to talk about that sometime, and switching departments 2 months before graduation seemed insurmountable. But here they are as a family. Congratulations to the Grow family. So showing up and being ready to roll. As Kirby was studying to become paramedic, he craved call volume and opportunity to better himself and his skills. This is what led him to UFA, to be able to refine his skills and do the most good for the most people. As he's had a chance to interact with everyone at UFA, he's happy to say he feels his family made the right choice. I've noticed so many good things about him. I've noticed his willingness to step in the arena and get after it, expose himself to the feedback that comes with moving jobs, moving careers. One thing that I noticed yesterday, Medic Ladder 110 responded on a pretty horrible call in Cottonwood Heights. And I went up there as the battalion chief, and I'm clearing, and I saw him walk out of the house. And I thought how grateful I am to see Kirby serving in that capacity, our citizens already. Some days are bad. If you meet it with the right attitude and the right intent to show up and do good, things work out well. And again, to Kirby and his family, thank you so much for showing up and working here.
So I'm going to come up here and talk to you guys about Tom Sapgood. And I don't have all the stats. I didn't realize this was going to be a biography. But my experience of, I didn't really get to know Thomas much until he came through our station, being mentored and proctored by Scott Bentley, Ray Day, and Cameron Hawkins. But that's when I got to know him, and he's actually a pretty funny guy. Like, it takes him a while to come out of his shell, but I'd always known Thomas to be that smiling face that rolls in. I had worked a shift here or there, but it was the time around the dinner table, talking about home life and his pets. He's quite the hamster guy. So, but as this all culminated for him, and watching him grow and watching him get more comfortable in taking charge of a scene, that's one of the privileges that I didn't anticipate from being a station captain in the role that I have now, is to watch these people grow in front of you. And I would love to say that I somehow had an impact or an effect on the great job that Thomas is going to do as a paramedic. That is not my wheelhouse. I did, however, get him a big ass cake so that we had the last meal at the station and had families and stuff come up, and that was pretty fun. But the moment that I knew he'd be okay was, and without going into a whole ton of graphic detail, it's just one of those full arrests where you go and it's bad from the get-go. Long downtime in a care facility, and not one of the great care facilities, and just bloody messy. And here he is, just taking care of business, and like all of us responding to. And in that moment, it was like, yep, that'll be the deal. So take this, as everyone has said, continue to learn and grow. This is like a jumping off point. But something that I would like to offer to all of the people in this room, but especially you, never underestimate your ability to inspire. Your enthusiasm has been infectious, and me and the crew at 106 are better off for having the time we spent with you.
know Thomas.
Thanks for having me. I'm here with Derek. When I first met Derek, well, first of all, let me introduce myself. Jewel Perez, 101B, been there about 5 years. So I have a lot of new guys. Derek showed up as a probationary officer or a firefighter, some slick back hair, looking all dapper, and a pretty cool mustache. That's when I knew he's gonna be okay. With that, some of the things he taught as we go on is just have a good characteristic and attitude. Everything we did, go out training, he's smiling the first one out there. He would had some experience, and he's the one to lead the trainings. Awesome attitude, and I knew he'd go far. With that, I started thinking about some of the things in the last couple of years that I got to see Derek do. I've seen him comfort the little old lady on the floor as someone's putting on an ankle brace so that we can get to the stretcher. He's consistent and reliable. He never gets rattled. I try to rattle him. I usually can do a pretty good job. He won't fall for it. He has a cool demeanor, and it must come with the hair. Cooking. If he rose to your station, make him cook. The guy should have been a chef in his previous life. Some of the qualities he has that's going to make him an outstanding medic. He's quiet. He's humble. He's an amazing listener. He's thorough. If you watch him do his checkout, he's kind of meticulous, and you get bored waiting to do a roll call. He's a family man. He's a truly caring person, to the point maybe you don't know, but he went to ministry school. He's a pastor. He can talk. He takes criticism well, and he learns from it. And he remains calm under pressure. All of us have our support team to make us successful. Derek has his coworkers and his family, Eloise, Malachi, and Paisley May. But the true hero is Michelle. She supported him while he's in recruit camp, supported him again while he's in paramedic school with 3 kids under 7. So you're the true hero here. Thank you for supporting Derek. And then I step away and come back. The next one we'll just say Megan Fenton, and we'll just leave it at that. Megan. So she hired on in 2019, and she came to the station right after probation in 2020. Colin Jeffries was our last probationary firefighter there, and I said, Colin, who do you want as your partner? He said, Megan. I don't remember her. So she shows up to the station and is like, I happened to sit on her interview board. I remember this little teeny thing. So we're talking stats. I think she's about 5'4", 130 pounds. And she comes up and shakes all her hands. And she almost took my arm with her. I said, you got to settle down. And that's Megan. Everything is just vicious. It is intentional, I believe. Yes. It's the first experience. Getting to know her, I realized how funny she is. One of the most memorable funny experiences is going to one of the community events at a school, and they had a little petting farm. I was like, where the heck did Megan go? Here she comes riding a burro. She's riding down the sidewalk with some little old man leading her, and Yahoo, there it goes. Comfort. We had a pretty bad call up on 45th and Highland. Megan spent 45 minutes inside of an upside-down car while the heavy rescues were working on a different vehicle, holding this lady's hand, talking to her, keeping her comfortable, starting IV. Awesome job. That's the type of person Megan and paramedics she will be. Fire-related. Think of a fire in South Salt Lake. It was a crawl space, and fire was blowing out. I said, Megan, you want to go play? Yes. So before I could say, here's the hose, she was already down there. Pass me the hose. And we just sat there and let the fire play with us a little bit, and then we put it out for South Salt Lake. And then team building. We have a little pickle for pain thing we do. After pickle for pain, there's always, we call it taco time. It's not as bad as it thinks. We just had a bunch of Tacomas. So we'd sit in the back of the Tacomas and we'd talk about the day and just get to know each other. That is her. Just always want to be around. So with that, her professional qualities, she's prepared. She's resilient, kind, heart bigger than her stature, outgoing. She's sarcastic and very manipulative. So with that, her biggest team of support was her dad, Paul, her mother, Lori, and her wonderful sisters, Amy and Erin. And then, of course, the one that held her together was Catherine. Catherine, I don't know how you did it because she is scatterbrained and she needs someone to keep her on a leash, and you did well. Thank you for that. Paramedic Megan Fenton.
Yeah, if we could have our 5 medics come on up with your family member that's going to be pinning you. Yeah, just the.
All right. Is that gonna work, Courtney? You've been chosen by virtue of your background, training, and personal qualities to be a paramedic for Unified Fire Authority. Your behaviors, decisions, and actions while on and off duty directly reflect the image of Unified Fire Authority, its personnel, and the quality of service that UFA provides to the citizens we serve. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly affirm. That I will uphold the vision. The mission. Values and policies. Adopted by Unified Fire Authority. I will act for the good of the communities. Which I serve. I will strive for excellence. While I faithfully, honestly, and ethically perform the duties of paramedic with Unified Fire Authority. Congratulations, you are duly appointed.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Of course, I have to go first.
You're all set. Hi, my name is Joe Egbert. I'm the captain at 117A on the Heavy Rescue Company. And I had the privilege to be working with Nate as my co-captain for quite a while until he left for the bigger, wider world. When Nate asked me to speak, I initially thought about saying no, but then the thought crossed my mind that if Nate was going to the trouble to ask me to talk, that there's no way I couldn't, that I could say no. Then when I was thinking about this and what a big deal it is for him to get promoted to battalion chief and to take this big step into management leadership, I thought, this is probably the last promotion of his life. And I should really go through the mission, visions, and values of the department and talk about Nate's characteristics, and then show how he's going to be a good battalion chief based on that. And I was like, yeah, that's really boring, so I'm not going to do that. Then I came up with a bunch of good stories to tell about Nate. And then Kelly Bird texted me today and said, hey, we've been warned you talk really slow, so don't take too long. So I had to edit down a few stories. So this is what I came up with. I've been fortunate enough to work around Nate for most of my career, either with him, around him, or for him. Nate was one of the founding members of the Heavy Rescue Company as the B shift firefighter, long before the department ever thought of creating the heavy rescue technician position. In that role, Nate took on a lot of different responsibilities over the years. And one of the most memorable was when he agreed to be in charge of a group from the USAR team going to Kyrgyzstan with the Montana National Guard to train Kyrgyz rescuers. Now, as a department, we send personnel from USAR and Wildland across the country all the time. However, when you send personnel 12 time zones away to a Russian-speaking country that was a former Soviet bloc country, while they're working under the leadership of the Montana National Guard under policies from the US State Department, it's a little bit more complex. I think you could argue that a chief or a captain should have been given that job, but Chief Bill Brass trusted Nate, and Nate pulled it off. He spent months of extra time going to meetings, talking to people from Montana, talking to officers from the Guard, going on an extra planning trip to Kyrgyzstan, which takes 3 days of travel to get there, but a 36-hour day of travel to get home. We went over there. We had about a 2-week training program with travel, and Nate pulled the whole thing off. The Kyrgyz leadership was happy. The Montana Guard was happy, and everybody that went made it home safe and sound, even if it did mean Nate and I had to speed walk through London Heathrow Airport because we were not missing our plane. Part of being on the Heavy Rescue Company, and especially as a heavy rescue officer, is getting tasked with novel and unexpected challenges and then breaking them down, coming up with a good plan A, a better plan B, and somewhere in the back of your head, a plan C. When the heavy rescue got moved from 110 to 117, I got put on the engine. Nate had been the heavy rescue captain at 110, and he was on the ladder. And we'd start working together. And one night we're going to bed, and the phone rings at about 11 o'clock, which is never good. It never is good. And it was Chief Iscardi. He was living downstairs as battalion chief. And he said, hey, get Nate and come down to my office, which is also not a good thing to get called to the chief's office at 11 o'clock at night. Turns out we're like, oh, what did we screw up? Did we break something? What is going on? Turns out that the state of Utah had called and that Wayne County Search and Rescue had a hiker stuck in Zero G Canyon in Goblin Valley, and they couldn't get her out, and they needed people to go down and break rock and get this hiker out. Cool story about this, I'll tell you after this. It's way too long to tell here. But we, Chief Scardy's like, hey, can you guys do this? Nate was senior captain, and he's like, yeah, of course we can do that. But he almost instantly broke it down as like, plan A, they want us to go get on the helicopter, fly down there with some tools, break some rock, and fly home. Helicopter only fits 2 people. What happens if something goes wrong? So he came up with a plan with us, and plan B was that I took the rest of the crew that didn't fit on the helicopter. He took the minimum amount of tools he needed, and him and Brian Wingett headed to the airport in the ambulance. The rest of us loaded all the stuff in the heavy rescue, and we were southbound and down to Goblin Valley in the heavy rescue because that's the best road trip vehicle ever. And we were going to go help this trapped hiker in Goblin Valley. Turns out they got loaded in the helicopter and almost started spinning blades, and then they radioed that the hiker was saved. But that was something that Nate has always done, breaking things down into pieces. There was never hesitation. There was not a question of, are we going to go? That's our job. We are going to go. And how are we going to accomplish it? And that's how he's always handled things. There are a lot of stories that I could tell about Chief K. From difficult calls that he made a difference on, to UCR deployments, to watching midget wrestling in Wisconsin, to great dinners and games at the firehouse, to long days training in Magna, to the day the ladder crew had to go pick up a Costco pack of readers to keep on the rig. But the one thing I wanted to end on, the one key observation that has been a steady thing throughout the whole time I've known Nate K, is that he loves the fire service. He's been around it his whole life thanks to his dad, Paul K. And Nate is good at it. He has been a good fireman, and he's been a good captain, and he will be a great BC. He's been good at every rank and level, every assignment he's had, but there's one thing that has always been more important to him than the fire service, and that is Hayden, Lily, and his wonderful wife, Sarah. No matter where he's been, what side of the globe he's on, what he's doing, they have always been the most important to him. While I miss working with him and seeing him at the firehouse, I know that it was time for him to move on and try something new. I know that he is up to the challenge of leading the men and women of Battalion 13C to respond to the fires, medicals, and whatever other instance they are called on. Thanks.
Paul, not yet. We're going to make Nate
Oh,
say
that's
some words.
First?
You got to speak first. Now let's do it now.
Okay. I didn't know I was gonna have to speak, so and Joe's got me all emotional, but very true. My family has always been the most important to me, and I wouldn't be here without their support. So, thank you. Really, I'm just thankful for all the leaders, all the coaches, all the mentors that have helped me up to this point. I've worked for and with a lot of great people. A lot of them are in this room today. So I'm eager and willing and ready to pass on the little bit of knowledge that I've gained and gleaned and pass that on to my future replacements. I'm excited to work in Battalion 13 on C shift. I have great crews, and it's going to be really awesome. So looking forward to the challenge, and it's going to be fun. So that's all I got. Thanks, Chief.
Okay. Nate, you've been chosen by virtue of your background, training, and personal qualities to be a battalion chief for Unified Fire Authority. Your behaviors, decisions, and actions while on and off duty directly reflect the image of Unified Fire Authority, its personnel, and the quality of service that UFA provides to the citizens we serve. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Nathan K.
Do solemnly affirm
Do solemnly affirm
that I will uphold the vision,
that I will uphold the vision,
mission,
mission,
values, and policies
values, and policies
adopted by Unified Fire Authority.
adopted by Unified Fire Authority.
I will act for the good of the communities
I will act for the good of the communities
of which I serve.
of which I serve.
I will strive for excellence
I will strive for excellence
while I faithfully,
faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and ethically perform
and ethically perform
the duties of battalion chief with Unified Fire Authority.
the duties of Battalion Chief with Unified Fire Authority.
You are now duly affirmed.
Hey, if you don't mind, I got one more thing to say. So, a lot of you don't know, but he served at Salt Lake County for 21 years. And if you could all can believe it, next year it'll be 20 years that he's been retired.
Salt Lake County Fire Department.
Thank you all for being here, and congratulations to all of you. We're very happy and proud of all of you. One item of note that I forgot to ask all of our promotees, we have a couple of certificates here at the table. I need you to sign both of those, and then we'll package those up and make sure that you take everything home with you that you're supposed to. So please come up and sign. They've got your name on them, so make sure you sign the correct one. Families, friends, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being here on this special day. We hope that you felt what I felt tonight as we celebrate the anniversary of 9/11 and celebrate our fellow personnel here tonight. That is all that we have for you tonight. Please feel free to eat some cookies, some beverages on the back table. Looks like you're gearing to stand up. Oh, I thought you were like rearing to go. That's all we got. Thank you. If you would like to have some photos taken by Courtney, he's happy to do that. Just let him know. Thank you again.